Thank you, Deputy Jones. In the Murray case, the defendant is present with his counsel. The people by their counsel, all the jurors and the alternates again are present. Good morning again. At this time, Mr. Chernoff, does the defense wish to present an opening statement?
We do.
You may.
Good morning. The problem with Mr. Walgren's argument, we believe you'll find, will be this. At the end of the trial, you will be given a jury charge to make a determination about whether somebody has done a crime, committed a crime. You will not be asked to determine whether or not Dr. Murray is negligent in the abstract, or whether he's a good doctor in the abstract. You will never be asked to determine whether Dr. Murray should have been the cause of Michael Jackson's death. You will be asked to determine who was the cause of Michael Jackson's death. The science in this case, the pure science, the evidence in this case, we believe is going to show you this. Despite everything that had gone on in the past, despite anything that had gone on during that day, during the 10 hours on June 25, 2009, while Michael Jackson was frustrated because he could not sleep, frustrated because his doctor refused to give him a drug that he preferred, that he wanted, he did an act without his doctor's knowledge, without his doctor's permission, against his orders. He did an act that caused his own death. What we believe the evidence will show you is during those 10 hours, the science will show you that Michael Jackson swallowed 8 2-milligram lorazepam pills, pushing his blood concentration of lorazepam to 0.169 micrograms per milliliter. And the experts will tell you that that's enough to put 6 of you to sleep. And he did this when Dr. Murray was not around. We believe the evidence will show you, the scientific evidence will show you that when Dr. Murray left the room, Michael Jackson self-administered a dose of propofol that with the lorazepam created a perfect storm in his body that killed him instantly. When Dr. Murray came into the room and found Michael Jackson, there was no CPR, there was no doctor, no paramedic, no machine that was going to revive Michael Jackson. He died so rapidly, so instantly, he didn't even have time to close his eyes. One of the prosecution, the judge has told you that we do not have, the defense does not have the requirement to put on any evidence. We will provide you the science to show you what happened. But we intend to, in this case, provide to you answers to 2 questions. First, how did Michael Jackson get to this point, this desperate point? And second, what happened when Dr. Murray was out of the room? One of the things Mr. Walgren told you in his opening was that Michael Jackson was preparing for a concert at the O2 Arena. And he was. But he undersold it just a little bit. Because what Michael Jackson was really preparing to do, what he was actually going to do at the O2 Arena, with This Is It, was create history. Not just for us, for himself. You will hear from Randy Phillips, who is the president of AEG Live. You will hear from Kenny Ortega, who was the co-choreographer of the rehearsal of the This Is It production. You will hear from Paul Gongaware, who was part of the production team for This Is It. And what they will tell you is that Michael Jackson had not performed for 10 years. And this particular series of concerts, these shows, were going to be his absolution. He needed to do these shows. They're going to tell you that he was intimately involved in every aspect of the production. I don't know what impression you came in with about Michael Jackson. He wasn't just brilliant artistically, he was a smart man. He was involved in every aspect of that production. The dance, the music. He chose the songs. He wrote the songs. The effects, the 3D effects in this show, the movie clips, these were his. This was his show. This was how Michael Jackson was going to be remembered. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. This was going to be his memory. He needed to do these shows. Randy Phillips will tell you that it was not just going to end with This Is It. The contract provided that if he were to complete these shows, if he were to do what he set out to do, he would have the ability to pack it all up for a world tour. There'd be I believe Randy Phillips will tell you, 4 segments of a world tour that he could attend, that he could perform at. And it wouldn't end at that. Randy Phillips will tell you that, and you will see in Michael Jackson's own handwriting, his plans for 4 to 5 movies, including a 3D version of Thriller. Randy Phillips will tell you that this equated for Michael Jackson at the age of 50, hundreds of millions of dollars. Randy Phillips will tell you that with the world tour, there would not even be a close second of what he could earn. And all he had to do, you will hear, all he had to do was the O2 shows to set this in motion. All he had to do was complete these shows. The problem was, he was never going to be able to do these shows. Because Michael Jackson had a problem. He had a problem that no amount of determination, no dedication, no talent would ever overcome. And he knew that he needed help. And in the spring of 2009, Michael Jackson went out looking for that help. In the summer of 2008, you'll hear from Randy Phillips. He'll tell you that in that summer there was the initial negotiations for This Is It. He will tell you that on October 31st, 2008, he met with Michael Jackson at the Bel Air Hotel, along with his financial advisor, along with 2 bodyguards, Alberto Alvarez and Michael Amir Williams. You'll meet all of those people in this trial. And the parameters of the show were set out. Randy Phillips will tell you that during that meeting, Michael Jackson cried. He said, "I'm tired of being a vagabond. I just want a house for me and my kids." In January 2009, Michael Jackson met with Randy Phillips again, this time to sign the contract. Paul Gongaware was there. You'll meet Paul Gongaware. They met at Michael Jackson's residence. At that residence, they signed the contract. Michael Jackson signed in his name, and he signed as president of Michael Jackson Company. Randy Phillips will tell you that Michael Jackson was nervous. The contract read for up to 31 shows. Michael Jackson was afraid. Michael Jackson, of all people, was afraid he wouldn't sell the tickets. You will learn that it sold so quick. The ticket sales were so fast that a mere week after pre-sales, these are not the real sales, these are pre-sales, they had to increase the shows to 50. And Michael Jackson said he would do it. He would increase those shows to 50 on two conditions. One, that he had a house for him and his children with 16 acres and horses they could play at. And two, that the Guinness Book of World Records would be there to record what it was a historical event. You see, 50 shows for a 50-year-old man in one arena that seats 25,000 people. Over 1 million people would have come to see Michael Jackson. That has never been done before, and Michael Jackson knew it. This was it for him, and he named the tour himself. This is it, and for him it was. In March of 2009, he made the announcement. The announcement was made at the O2 Arena. At that announcement, Michael Jackson was up on stage, and you'll hear about that from Randy Phillips as well. Now, during this time, during this entire process, negotiations, contract signing, the meetings, all the conversations about this tour, Dr. Murray was helping patients. You will learn in this trial about who Dr. Murray really is. You've heard what Mr. Walgren says, oh, he was greedy. It's all about money for Dr. Murray. But you'll hear in this trial who he really is. Dr. Murray is no celebrity doctor. He doesn't have an office in Beverly Hills dispensing pills to the rich and famous. He's a cardiologist. He's an interventional cardiologist. He has two practices you'll learn. One in Houston, my hometown, and one in Las Vegas. Every week, what Dr. Murray does, every week, is he performs angioplasty procedures where he sifts a catheter through an artery, sometimes in the groin, sometimes in the leg, sometimes in the arm, to the part of the artery that's clogged. These are procedures that require anesthesia, sedation. He literally saves lives. He literally takes care of only people that have had a heart attack or who are about to. That's who he was. That's who he is. In the spring, let me back up for a second. I'm going to talk about what the evidence will show about Dr. Murray's alleged greed. Since Mr. Walgren brought it up, I think it's important you hear what the evidence will show. Mr. Walgren said that Dr. Murray